Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is a pretty exciting moment because we have several of our board members that are going to talk to us. And our board members today represented is Trina Petty, our chair. Joining us is Eugene DeRabeau, and none of it, we had a big debate on how to say his last name. If you are a vendor partner and you are exhibiting, you probably talked to Janine, and all those great messages and marketing has come from Laniera Jones. And if you missed out on Mike Powell's networking event, shame on you. You better be there tonight. I am very pleased to introduce our sponsor, our silver sponsor, University of Phoenix, who is actually going to be moderating this event, and that is Kent Bloomberg. So Kent, why don't you tell us a little bit about University of Phoenix?
Thank you, Cheryl. Yeah, so we're a four-year accredited university focused on career relevant education, flexibility, and ways to reduce tuition. We're really focused lately on career services for life. And I don't want to say much other than drop by our booth. And if you chat with one of us, there's a gamification code. But there's also a really cool little 30-second spoken word performance by an alum of ours that talks about career services for life. And it's pretty dramatic and fun to watch. But that's us.
That's awesome. Thank you. And University of Phoenix is near and dear to my heart. So most people don't realize this. University of Phoenix has physical locations, and I happen to know there is an Arlington Service Center in Ballston. And if you don't like the commute, it's my fault because I picked the location. So I want to remind everybody there's multiple ways that you can participate, and I will again be your chat moderator. So you can participate several different ways. You can do the Q&A button on the blue bar below the video that's playing, or you can post in the chat. I will be monitoring the chat. If you are in the Zoom part of it and you post there, just communicate with us because we want to hear from you. We want to know what questions you have for the board. This is your chance to put them on the spot. Kent, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. So, board, I think I'll start with Eugene, and I'm going to ask the same question of all four of you, and it's really a two-part question about your training officers consortium journey. So what prompted you to become a member of TOC, and how did you get involved in the board and basically end up here today on this panel? So Eugene. You have to unmute though to respond.
It was not because I know how to unmute, that's why. So it's, thank you very much for the introduction. I have been involved with my company for over 20 years now, or close to 20 years. And before that, I would just say that my background was in computer science and applied mathematics. So I've always been a bit of a data geek. So then I came to my company, my current company, PTG, in 2003. And early on, it wasn't my decision, but early on, our CEO at the time got us involved in the Training Officers Consortium. So we've actually been involved for almost 20 years now. When I joined as an operations manager, I started to see what was going on and saw a lot of fun that some of the folks that participated in the annual institutes way back then. And then I started to get involved myself. I eventually became the president and CEO. And saw that it was just a tremendous opportunity for us to show what we do. We love to make impact. It's a small venue, smallish venue, and you can create intimate engagements. And that's something that was just very endearing to us, just being able to work closely with folks and have an impact. And just get involved and show that we care and are willing to roll up our sleeves and do the work too. So it's a short.
And then what brought you to the board in particular?
Oh gosh, what brought me to the board is back to my math geekness. And early on, we started to volunteer to help collect data for, the sessions for the annual institute. And because it's something that we do and we love to do, and it's just a way for us to contribute. I got some great advice way back when I started working at the company. Just get involved in your local industry groups and just do work. Just be there, be present, help out. Don't sell your wares all the time. Just be present when people come to trust you and see that you have something to contribute, and show up, keep showing up. So that's what we were doing. We started helping collect feedback, and then we started doing dashboards for the annual institute, presenting to the board. And at a certain point, I was asked to participate on the board and help from that strategic perspective, and also from the vendor community outreach perspective. So just being involved, and eventually somebody saying, can you help even more?
Yep. Start mowing the lawn, and then you get a chance to plant the next lawn, something like that, right?
That's a good way to put it.
Lanira, how did you find your way to TOC and then to the board?
So thanks, Kent. My answer is similar for both. Our infamous Steve Dabrowski brought me to TOC back when I was an intern with my current agency, Bureau of Economic Analysis. He thought it was really important for me to have an opportunity to be exposed to others in the training and development industry. So I've been a part of TOC for a long time. And I guess about 5 years ago, he accosted me at an annual institute actually and said, we have a board vacancy. Are you interested? And I wasn't supposed to attend that institute, but there I was. So the opportunity was right in front of me and I couldn't pass it up. TOC has been really valuable in helping me to grow skills that I don't have an opportunity to necessarily leverage in my day job. And it's a really exciting opportunity just to be exposed to the industry. Like Eugene said, it's a really low-key environment. We have a great chance to connect and to foster and nurture really genuine relationships. So I love that about TOC.
Yeah, so the accosting technique of volunteer recruitment was the key with you, right?
Absolutely.
Trina, how about you?
So thanks, Kent, and thanks for this opportunity to have some of the board members to speak this afternoon. So mine is a different story, which is a funny story when I tell it. I was a federal employee, had been a federal employee for many, many years in the human resources and training and development area. And I was on the phone with my sister one Saturday morning, who was at the Annual Institute in Roanoke. And she said, hey, there are a bunch of federal trainers here. Why aren't you part of this organization? I knew nothing about TOC as a federal employee. So she got the information to me. And within 6 months, I became a registrant of TOC, which was really funny. So that was in 2010. And I will say after I became a registrant, then I found out that I knew many of the people that were already registrants. Ellen Roderick, I call her Mother TOC. I had been knowing Ellen since back in the 80s when I worked for the Department of Navy. And she was head of training for Department of Navy, Office of Naval Research. And so after I saw Ellen was there and she was one of my mentors, and then as the time went on, and I became very active as a registrant. And then in 20, I'll say I was on a registrant for 3 years, and then Agnes Newman approached me one day and said, you need to get on the board. And that's not what I had planned, but here I am today. I've served in many of the board seats, but it's been a joy. TOC, like Lanira said, it helped me grow as a person, and it's a family camaraderie. If you want to network and with true, genuine people, TOC is where you need to be.
Wow, it's interesting that there's this whole network of people who you actually knew, but you didn't know this family was sitting over here, right? Okay.
Absolutely. And to this day, a lot of the registrants that I've met have become part of my family just about.
Yeah.
So it's truly a genuine connection. We've seen our children grow up. We've seen some get married. We've seen some have children. Mike Powell here. We've adopted people's children. I adopted Eugene's boys 2 or 3 years ago at a retreat. So it is definitely a family-oriented organization. And one thing I want to point out, we do learn together, but we also have fun together.
And speaking of that, Gary is talking about your great ability as a spades player, my partner.
You know, it makes you wonder how many, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, Kit, you're going to have to join us at one of our annual institutes to find out what that's about.
I know,
Thanks,
like
Gary.
a real in-person institute, right? Hopefully soon. Yeah, it's kind of, it makes you wonder how many other people who are training out there in the federal government don't know about this family yet, right? And don't know that they've got peeps meeting here.
Absolutely. And so we tell each other, spread the word as much as you can, put the word out there. And after I brought the information back to my agency at the time, I found out that we had been a TOC award recipient many years ago before I even joined the agency. So
Wow.
It's funny how you find these things out, but we need to continue to get the word out there about TOC and the good things that we're doing.
Yeah, for sure. Mike, what's your story of TOC-ness?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Kent. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I think we all kind of share similar stories. Mine is a little bit unique, but it's along the same path of family. My consulting company is a family business. So, my dad started this company back in '86, and TOC was one of the places that he went to grow and network and kind of get involved with the industry. And so when I joined the company many years later, he was like, you need to go to TOC, you need to go to TOC. And he was so adamant about it that, we got into an argument about it because I wasn't going fast enough. He was like, I don't know what you are doing. You like, I told you. And I'm like, Dad, like, I'm trying to learn this stuff first. Like, you putting me out on the road and I don't even know what I'm talking about yet, right? So, but I did. Right away, I was just able to connect with people. Our late dear friend, Al Tyree, was one of the first people to kind of take me under their wing and bring me into TOC and just help me to learn and grow. And then Diane Sutton, another former board member, her and my dad were colleagues. And so, like Trina said, adopting people, like I became Diane's son. Like she took me and always talked to me and tell me what to do and who to talk to. And I actually have clients that I work with to this day that I have as a result of my relationship with Diane. And so, it has been a really wonderful space, both personally as well as professionally. As an entrepreneur, really a solopreneur, I don't have a team of people around me who can help me to say, hey, have you looked at FeedLoop? Have you looked at Adobe Connect? Here's what we're doing. Have you read this book? Have you heard of this speaker? I have to kind of figure things out on my own, but having TOC has really given me an extended team to really supplement, where I was lacking. So that's been really great. And so I was around for a while and just kind of, showing up and presenting at our annual institutes and presenting at, our monthly program meetings when I was asked. And then an opportunity presented itself for me to lead the institute chair one year. And I had no idea what I was in for. But I accepted that opportunity, and it was a great learning experience for me, for so many things, but especially from a leadership perspective. And so, I think from there, I was asked to join the board, and again, still not knowing what I didn't know, I was like, sure, no, why not? And so I have, and you know, I've been a board member, and I've been active ever since. And so, you know, it's just been a really great place to meet people, to network. But you know, as kind of we all said, to build these relationships that have supported us more than just being, you know, effective in our jobs, but help us to be effective people in the world and in life.
So we do have a question from the audience. Eileen, and I think it's Wentland, is asking, is TOC for DC area employees only, since we met in person pre-COVID, or can anyone join from anywhere? Trina, you've got your hand up for that one.
I'm glad, Eileen, you asked that question. Thank you. And so TOC previously has been in the DC, I would say, metropolitan area, but no, we have people that have joined us since we've been in our virtual community from all over. We've had webinars where we've had people that have been all over the United States, and the one that was sponsored by Cornerstone, we had some people that were internationally joining us. I don't remember the locations, but we're doing a lot of things on our virtual platform. As you can see, this week we're in Feed Loop. Our webinars have been in WebEx, and this has taught us a lesson. TOC in the past has been an in-person networking, annual institute. Everything has basically been in person. And I would want to say about 2, probably 3 years ago, we started doing some webinars, once a month webinars. But COVID kind of made us pivot, and we had to change the way we do business. So we will be expanding more in our virtual community. I'm not going to say that we're not going to have some things going back out in public, but we will be virtually also. So Eileen, if you know people that want to join us in our virtual community, please look and see what we have coming up for our 2021-2022 program year, and hopefully we'll have some people that want to join us on our virtual platform. So thanks for asking that question.
So while we're talking about members from all over, or registrants from all over, and I'll start with you, Trina. What impact do you hope TOC has on its registrants?
So from TOC's mission, first of all, is to provide knowledge and networking forums. So we will continue with whatever platform we have, whether it's in person, whether it's a virtual platform. We will continue to provide that networking, that knowledge-based platform. That's what we are. We're federal trainers. We are federal human resource officers, but we're also private sector people. We're also reaching out into academia. You know that, Kent. And Cheryl has introduced us. We have people that we have other avenues. We're looking into the state governments. So we're trying to, they're training-based people, they're learning management people. They're in all of these areas. So we're trying to expand our area, our span of control, I will say, as far as the people that we're reaching. We also want to build our learning community, like I just said, but we also want to continue to offer diverse webinars and seminars. So this year, I mean, we all know this was a very, very, very difficult year. It was a difficult year for all of us. And we on the board, we're human too. And we have a very diverse board. And the things that were occurring, it affected us. And so we had to talk about, we weren't, one thing I can say, we didn't shy away. And Mike, I applaud Mike. Mike, he taught, and he will coming up in June, Mike is going to be doing a series on, I say diversity and inclusion, but Mike has another engagement. He has another piece that he adds in there. And so we are not going to shy away from those tough topics. So I see TOC branching out more, expanding our network, the people that we touch, and not shying away from those topics that some people may want to shy away from. I welcome my fellow board to expand on that.
I'll chime in, or I'll call on you if you don't chime in. So
I'll chime in. No, I appreciate it. That part of the question was what impact, and my company's tagline is impact measured. So impact is a big word for us. And like Trina says, the way I see TOC, obviously there's professional development opportunities. An individual can grow, can mature, can learn things, can network and learn from one another. But I also think it's critical to recognize we're all part of an overarching mission, right? So it's particularly with our work in the government, federal government, but also potentially state government. We also need to be thinking about the mission of the agencies that we're working for, whether we're an employee or whether we're a vendor supporting the mission. To me, that's kind of like a starting point. I care about my own development. I care about my employees' developments, but obviously I want everybody to care about the overall company's impact that we can make. Same thing in the federal space. So I see TOC as a place where we could go to hit on both those key areas in a way that will just multiply the effect. So an analogy I think about when I think about TOC is we're off on our own, either developing ourselves or doing our own particular slice of the big impact pie. But then we get together periodically with our fellow TOC mates. It's like going back to a family reunion, and you're suddenly your battery's charged, you laugh, you maybe learn that your cousin's actually doing something similar to you are. Maybe you can actually call each other and help each other out. So it's just a wonderful way to find a kind of a source to allow you to be more impactful. So, and then together, just sharing with one another, hopefully multiplying that effect across all the registrants and all the agencies that we serve.
It's like leveraging yourself because of the network that you're tapped into.
Right. A little physics there, a little.
Lanira, what do you hope that registrants are take away from TOC?
I think the networking, especially for me, has been really powerful and is a powerful tool. Once you grow your network, you're able to connect to the network of others. And I really hope that registrants are taking these opportunities to network, especially in the platform we have now using FeedLoop. You can send private chats, you can connect with all the vendors that we have in the exhibit hall, and really just use those opportunities to genuinely connect. I'll share that one of my colleagues in the Department of Commerce, I'd shared a TOC webinar with my colleagues, and someone attended, and now they're attending the annual institute, and she connected with me. And so that was really great to see how it's growing. And my hope for her is that as she's participating in the institute, that she's connecting with others, federal and private industry, because that's such a powerful tool. It comes in handy when you're looking for something, you're looking for a resource, and you heard about it at TOC, and you can reach out, or you can connect with others to be able to learn what they're doing within private industry or the federal space. So the networking is such a huge piece of helping us to continue to grow training and development across all spaces.
So we do have a question. Does the TOC have a community of practice? Okay, don't all answer at once.
Trina, I can.
Lanier, you want to take that?
Sure, I'm happy to.
Yes, we talked about it before.
Yes, we have. One of the great things about TOC and having such an interactive and engaged board is that we have opportunities to pivot like we did this year and tap to see what else is out there. We have a lot of discussions in our board meetings that come to fruition, and we're able to see those ideas and those things really blossom into strong connections for our community. And we've discussed the community of practice before. We are imagining how we can leverage what content we currently have to create that community of practice. And we're open for ideas. I love that TOC allows our registrants to be interactive and engaged. Just like you, Cheryl, you're not on the board, but you've done so much to support the Institute. And that's the other ways that our registrants can get involved to volunteer. TOC is completely volunteer-based. So the more that our community is engaged in helping to grow and develop TOC, the more that you feel that family that we have within TOC.
So the idea is perking, and soon maybe more to come, right? Nice. So I'm going to come to Mike now and maybe talk a little bit about what impact you hope TOC has on its registrants, but also tell us a little bit more about equity, inclusion, and engagement that Trina mentioned.
Yeah, so in terms of making an impact, I think we really want to be leaders in this industry, right? And leaders are visionary. Leaders are kind of like peeking out across the horizon and anticipating what's coming, what changes are out there, what do we need to be thinking about. When I teach leadership, I tell people that managers make sure the grass is getting cut, but leaders are making sure that we're cutting the right yards, right? And so, I think that as leaders in this industry, we want to make sure that our registrants are aware of, all the different nuances of the learning and the training space, whether it's from a technology standpoint, whether it's from a societal standpoint, whether it's from an individual development standpoint, right? We want to make sure we are having the conversations and providing content that gets you thinking about those issues that are really important to someone who is in charge of training and learning in their organizations, and so that kind of segues into what I think we really did a great job with last year. Everybody keeps saying we had to pivot this year. Y'all forget we had a whole 2020 that we already pivoted. We are pivoting, right? We like the ship, man. It takes a long time to turn this thing around. But last year when the country was really in a really heightened state of activity and activism, we had an opportunity to have some conversations on the board about how we wanted to show up and connect around our messaging and connecting with communities that were really at the forefront of these different movements that everyone was experiencing in the country. And so what we were able to do as a board was have a conversation about why people who are in charge of learning should help the people who they are teaching and helping to learn, should be putting out messaging that helps them to grow and develop and understand what's going on in the community, right? What's going on in the world and just how to make sense of it. And sometimes the only way for you to do that is for you to experience it yourself. And so I think what happened in the space of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging is the additional piece of that, is that we wanted to make sure we were creating a safe space where all of our registrants and our stakeholders and our partners and vendors and everyone else who's connected with us knows that TOC is always a safe space. And so we had to have a conversation internally to make sure that we felt comfortable to have that conversation, because you can't take someone somewhere where you haven't been before, right? At best you're a tour guide. And so what we did was we had conversations about what was going on in the community and what was going on in the country. And as a result of those conversations, we believe that it was important to then have the same conversation with our registrants and then create content and programming for them to be able to learn and grow and benefit from the same things. And it really just came from conversations that we had internally and things that we needed to learn and grow and hear each other's perspectives and understanding and just create that space for the dialogue that, it turned into something that was even more powerful than, I think any of us thought when we started initiating those conversations.
And belonging is such a core need for all of us, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And knowing how to create that in our organizations or grow it.
Yeah.
Wow. And we start, Mike, with you and kind of run through the group. Then what, if you look forward 5 years, right, from now, so 2026, where would you like to see TOC at that point? What's your vision? Oh, man.
I want us to continue to be leaders in this industry. Whatever the learning and training community looks like. Obviously we focus on the federal community, but as we expand our footprint, to start getting traction outside of the federal community. But I think the big thing for us is that we've all learned the importance of having this virtual platform. And we had such a wonderful space to be together physically and enjoyed those opportunities and relationships. So, in 5 years, we'll be doing both and it'll be seamless, and, we'll be able to benefit from, everything we've learned over the past 2 years about how to develop and deliver these programs virtually, but also learning from what we've done for the past 80 years and how to develop these programs and deliver them in person as well. And so now we're going to have the best of both worlds. And we're having a program that is, a leader in this industry and helping people to learn and grow in both of those areas.
Laniera, what would you say about 5 years?
Thanks, Kent. My hope is that TOC has a full-time marketing intern. No, but I do see an opportunity for TOC to dive into the up and coming generation of learning leaders to help them become acclimated sooner. I really do value TOC and the impact it has on our community. And I think if we just start sooner, we have the scholarship that we've done for a while now. And so if we can continue to engage with people who are interested in the learning and development community, then we'll catch them, train them while they're young, right? And so we'll be able to bring in people who have the new and fresh ideas and who are able to keep us on our toes. Like Mike said, we learned a lot with moving to this virtual space and being able to continue to do that and continue to advance in the learning and development community, engaging with others, maybe even a community of practice. But there's so much still that TOC could stand to do. And I think in the next 5 years, we'll see TOC continue to grow and develop and to change and shape the way that we are engaging with one another.
Yeah, I love the idea of nurturing the new people coming into the profession, right? And because that's a lot of us older folks are leaving the profession over the next few years, and they're the future of the profession for sure. Eugene, how about you?
Thank you for not having me go fast, because I would run out of 5-year things. So it's Trina's challenge to figure out what else to say. No, I agree with what has been said. I think I would start with, we need to leverage the strength of this group. Last night at the networking event, Mike was sharing about he loves to go to work out in his, what did you call it? Your gym garage?
Jim
garage?
Raj.
And one of the thoughts was, you know, when you go to the gym, you're breaking down muscle fiber so that it comes back stronger. And I think some of what has happened in this last year or two is kind of breaking the muscle fiber of TOC, some of the things we were used to doing. And we have to change the way we do things and think about things differently and look for a broader scope. So I agree that 5 years from now, we're going to be going broader. You know, the federal government isn't just in Washington, D.C. and a little, 10 square mile radius. It's all over the country and all over the world even, and obviously other governments. So we need to reach those folks and leverage. I think TOC is an under-recognized asset in our community. And while I do absolutely hope we are able to bring on the younger folks, I also hope we can bring on some of the more seniored, wizened veterans. And we have some, but we need to have a mixed community. My analogy earlier about a family reunion, you don't go to your family reunion and just invite, everybody 25 and under. That would be kind of boring. You invite the grandma and the great uncle, and you just get that mixture, and you help each other out because you are family, and it is a family. And the last thing I'll say, it is a volunteer group. The board is. So the amount of effort and sweat that has been put into this, there's just a great love for what we are, where we've been the last 80 plus years, where we're going. And I think we can build on that and hopefully share that magic, that chemistry in a broader audience.
So Trina, I left you for last on purpose, because that's the boss's job to wrap all of that thought up. Where do you see 5 years?
Well, thank you, Kent.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Before I get into the 5 years, so back to, this is our networking, our camaraderie thing. So like Eugene mentioned, Mike talked about last night his gym rod. So when we got off our networking event, I said, I feel so guilty here. Shanda's out there running marathons and stuff, and Mike is in his gym rod, and everybody's working out. I just want you all to know, I did go out and walk. I walked 3 miles last night. That is unheard of for me, maybe 2, but I did 3 because I said, I got to start somewhere. So that's what I'm talking about, Kent, when I talk about we share one another's thoughts, one another's feelings, and we beat each other up too to make each other feel guilty. So they made me feel guilty. So I got out there.
Right.
Back to the 5 year. Oh my goodness. I would love to see TOC grow into this 500 plus registrant organization. I know it takes time, but we got to continue to spread the word about this small group of folks that are making a huge impact. And I really think we'll be able to do that when we broaden our scope to more in the academia area, into state governments. But I also want us, Eugene said an important point. You don't just invite, your little cousins or the Generation Z or whatever to the family reunion. You invite grandma, granddad, ma, dad, you invite everyone. And so I can see a lot of the senior, I call them senior saints, them wanting to retool themselves. They may have left, whatever job they were in. It could have been an accounting job. The HR, the training and development area, it's becoming smaller in the federal government, whereas the training and development people, you don't have that big training and development office that you used to have years ago. The training and development people, they may be hidden in the HR office, or the HR people don't have the skills that we had many, many years ago. So I would like to see us, those people that are trying to retool themselves, us grabbing those types of people and bringing them into the TOC fold, and then letting them learn from us, the ones that have been in the training and development and the HR area for many, many years, and us taking them in and mentoring them. I don't care what the age group is, but also people like, I go back to Ellen Roderick, because I knew Ellen 30 years ago. And who would have known that our paths would have crossed with TOC? Was I thinking about TOC in the mid 80s? Knew nothing about TOC, whereas Ellen Roderick was involved in TOC. And then when she saw me come in as a registrant, she just took me under her wing. So I would love to see us, Lanier came in, Steve knew us as an intern, but he brought her in. I would like for us registrants to do more of that. It could be the intern that's there that we don't have a training budget for, but inviting them to one of our lunch and learns, inviting them to sit in one of our webinars, and maybe that flame will, it'll catch with them. And then we'll see them years and now, and they say, I remember you from TLC and what you said. That's what I would like to see us be 5 years from now.
Sounds like an invitation. I'm sorry, I'll give you a second, Cheryl, but it just sounds like an invitation to the people who are here live and the people who are going to watch this recorded later, right?
Yeah.
Go out and find a friend and bring that friend in.
Yeah.
All right, Cheryl.
Absolutely. And we actually have a question that Eric Fielding has asked, and I'm willing to bet everybody in the AI has this question. So, can you all talk about a potential transition back to in-person meetings, when you might think this could happen?
So I will say that the TOC will be having its annual, the board, the executive board of TOC will be holding its annual retreat in June. And that is the top topic on the agenda. We all have our own opinion of what we would like to see for the 2021-2022 program year. But of course, we're going to have to discuss this. Eric, I'm with you. I would want to just go back. But you have to have those safeguards in place. We're looking at having a mixture of diversity, diverse, as far as, we've used feed loop this week. You don't want to just use it and put it on the shelf. So of course, we're going to be using some feed loop. I'm speaking for the board. We haven't talked, but I think I can honestly say on behalf of the board that, your feed loop is not going away. We're going to be using some more of this in 2021 and 2022. And then we're going to, take baby steps, just like everyone else is doing, as far as taking baby steps to get back out there in a public environment. Social distance, mask on.
So just a couple of things you should know that's going on in the chat. First of all, the board is getting lots of kudos for the great work. People say they can feel your passion, and I know that to be true. Steve is super excited to do the retreat, and he blames COVID because it'll be the first time he gets together with others outside his pod. And Cindy agrees. So we have a couple of minutes left. I want to do a final call for questions. And before we break, Mike Powell, what do we have coming up at 4 o'clock?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So yesterday we played a game of show and tell. And if you all remember show and tell from grade school, it was just like that. And everybody had a great time showing and telling. And I think we really learned something about each other unique that many of us probably did not know before. Today, in the theme of family reunions and debates, we're going to play a game called One Gotta Go. And One Gotta Go is a great debate game where everyone has 4 options to choose from, and then each person has to decide which one of those things they would have to either keep or which one would they eliminate. So we'll do that as a group. It's usually a really fun game to do virtually and in person. And so we'll see some of the cases that people make for each other for what needs to stay and what needs to go. So that's right after this at 4 o'clock.
Awesome. Thank you. So that is our time. I want to thank our board for their great comments. Thank you for all you do. I have to tell you, it's been great to be a part of the Annual Institute. Special thanks to Kent and University of Phoenix, one of our silver sponsors, for being our moderator today. And this is our last live session of the day. So make sure you join us tomorrow for Latte with LaMasha in the morning, and we'll have a sneak preview of what's to come. That's it for now. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Cheryl. Thanks,
Thank you.
Kit. See you all at 4. Bye.
Bye.